Navi think it's Timber mid, right? Because they banned DS.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the money is on Timber mid with mid one playing it just because of how well he's performed in the last few games. And I think there are some AoE initiators still left in the pool. There's your Tidehunter in the pool. Void's even still left in the pool. Oh, I don't know about that.
Wait, so Nyx could also be their mid hero. Like Midon plays Nyx as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
like they can do it both ways. Like both of them play Midon and Ohio plays the hero.
But in that case though, doesn't it make so much sense if they had the overall last pick, because you'd see Dendi maybe on an in-core mid and be able to punish that?
Yeah, but it's still flexible. Like they could do whatever they feel like gives them a better edge in the laning phase. But you pick a draw lineup and you have 2 melee cores, so...
Yeah, but if you're putting Nyx or Timber mid, it gives you a lot of opportunities, I think, for Navi to counter.
I like the Timber against the Lycans lane though, like if you ask me.
So what's the pick here for Dendi? Puck's still in the pool.
Puck is usually a good pairing with Lycan. We don't see the hero that much. They definitely need a hero that can make space, or a fast-paced hero.
Queen of Pain is a possibility, but I really dislike it.
Wind Ranger?
Yeah, Wind Rangers.
The Dendi Shackle.
I would love if you do that. You wish you had the Drow on your side at this point if you're Navi, but you know, not too surprising.
I think if
this is like it's crazy. This is like it's funny because if you look at the other 4 heroes that the 2 teams have, the Drow fits so much better with Navi than it does with Fnatic, right?
Yeah, but the thing for me is the Nyx makes it really hard to pick Dendi a pace-making hero, because I mean you're playing against Nyx and you can't you don't want to pick Queen or Puck into that hero. It's super annoying. But that might be necessary for the lineup to work.
You have to look at their lineup as well.
Yeah,
right? Like
they need it, but it's just going to be really frustrating for him to play that hero.
Yeah. And they did ban the invoker themselves.
I like the Wind Ranger. The lockdown for the Timber Saw's great against the Egg. You know, Dendi's very familiar with the hero, obviously.
It's really nice too because when they play Wind Ranger, they go like the 4-1-1, and then he just goes max shackle and sets up kills with art style.
But you're still playing. You're still playing against it. Yeah. So the Shadow Fiend. This hero, a lot of teams are talking about this hero coming back in the meta.
This is really good though, because look at the heroes that Fnatic have right now. Like, who's rotating? No one's going to be ganking Dendi this game. He's going to be complete free farm. If it's Timber, he free farms. If it's Nyx, he free farms.
Yeah.
I think it's the same reason why you pick Shadow Fiend, or used to pick Shadow Fiend against Alchemist, is that the lane you're just going to get like every single last hit.
All right, so guys, really quickly here, final thoughts. We'll start with Coddle Guy. We're going to have Coddle Guy and Drasco casting the game, but give us some predictions.
I'm going to go with Fnatic on this one. Navi obviously put together their Navi-esque lineup right here, but I feel like Fnatic's a bit more in tune with where the meta is going. I'm going to stick with them.
I'm actually going to say Navi.
I'm going to say Navi too. I like their last pick.
I'm going to make it 3 in a row for Navi. I think they've got a lineup that's heavily in their comfort zone. But with that, we are going to throw it back to Coddle Guy and Drasco, who are going to be bringing you the cast. We will be back on the panel for Game 2.
All right, we're going to hop into the action here. We'll get one last look at the players. It's Fnatic, it's Navi.
I think that, like Winter said, that last pick was kind of a stroke of brilliance for me. I was not expecting that at all. I was thinking something a little bit more traditional to help control the tempo, but Fnatic have a very hard time pressuring this hero.
We'll see if it's going to be the case. Kind of reminds me of when I believe it was OG pulled out the OD just to secure like a mid lane dominance factor in that game, and while it felt like a bit of the out of the usual pick, it just fit in the right place at the right time, and I feel like we're getting same vibes for Navi on that one, but yeah, we'll see. I already predicted Fnatic. I'm going to stick behind them on this one, and just kind of see if their Drow Ranger mid 1 Timber Saw is going to be enough for him here, because I would feel like that if, let's say the Timber, last time I checked, mid 1 was actually playing the Drow Ranger here, but if the Timber Saw gets to a point where, yeah, he is playing the Drow Ranger, is that a bit of a surprise? Are they changing it up?
I suppose. Maybe it's a comfort thing. Like, everyone's on a hero.
And Mushi's on the Timber.
I don't think you can give the Nyx farm priority to this game, because I think it's extremely hard to do anything after you saw the Shadow Fiend. I think the Nyx was something that might have been switched if it was a different mid.
Oh, swing and a miss on the stun right there. Dendi will easily pick up the rune, and both runes will go the way of Navi on this one.
Very good stuff. Yeah, he went for the dive, but a little bit. Either he went too high over the rune, or he just mistimed it, but either way. Yeah, this should be fairly interesting. I mean, the Timber matchup versus Shadow Fiend, the first couple of waves are going to be a bit of a nuisance because Shadow Fiend's base damage is really low. But eventually what happens is the Shadow Fiend just shoves in the lane so hard that the Timber can never really play aggressive. And then you have to worry about Enchantress rotations and Vengeful Spirit with a Fury in as well. There's just so many things that I don't think Mushi's going to be able to play too aggressive here.
Ohio top laning a bit of harassment, but he is going to be joined by DJ in this, so a dual lane setup, and you got to remember the Phoenix will benefit a bit from the extra damage that the Drow's going to be putting out there. I don't know if it's going to be enough to kind of be a problem for Ditya here. I imagine that's the game plan for them, is to kind of force them away from the creeps, but it doesn't seem too deterred at the moment. Is this going to be okay for Fnatic, just kind of having a dual lane step in the off lane and leaving their precious Drow with only the Dazzle to her disposal?
I think it's fine, yeah, because I mean the Drow Ranger is going to be up against the Furion lane, so it's not like you have to worry about some crazy surprise like general TPing in on you, like for example mid or top lane would have to worry about. So here it's just kind of like he's not going to be pressured, but Navi are going to be free farming on SF. I don't think Fnatic's dual off lane is going to be able to completely stop Ditchura's farm, but it might force Seneko or Artstyle to hang around the area just for a little while, and that might take pressure off of other lanes.
So the thing, though, in traditional Navi fashion, with the Enchantress pickup here, Artstyle now smoked up, he is on the move, and it looks like his course is going to be set to possibly the bottom lane, but for now, at least we'll step off and drop the creep ball mid lane. Mushi taking advantage of that window of time when the Shadow Fiend doesn't really offer that extra burst of damage to force the Timber side out of the lane, so Mushi's going to try to assert dominance, if you will, but there's Artstyle to the bottom lane trying to really mess with the Drow a bit and force her out of her groove.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, the Drow is pretty much the only thing on Fnatic that gives him that X factor that says, okay, if you don't pressure us and mid one gets his start, then we're going to start 5-manning, and that's still a little bit of an issue for Navi. They want a much more hectic laning phase.
They got him with the net. Heal's going to be there from 343, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Has to dish out the grave, but the chase is on. The Treant Protectors are out. They're sniffing blood. Mid-one creeps his way out the front door here, but there's still an army of creeps behind him. He says, get the hell back, and tries to get them off with the gust, but it's not going to matter. Eventually, General sets his course in, gets him with the last hit, and first blood goes to Navi.
And this is the problem when you have absolutely zero deep push or disables. I mean, you just get tower dove super hard. And realistically, this is why the Nyx pick became extremely weak as soon as we saw the Shadow Fiend, because instead of being a counter to one of the cores, which I think is what Fnatic were anticipating, is the Nyx now doesn't really have a place to go.
Yeah.
So now he's in this dual off lane with Ohio, and it's like, okay, well, I'm a level 2 Nyx. I'm not really going to be able to contribute a whole heck of a lot, and I think this has kind of put Fnatic in a really weird position.
Yeah, and we could see DJ's seriously just sitting there to block a camp at the moment, just in hopes that it will just deter Navi a bit. But you're right. I mean, with the way things are shaping up in the top and bottom lane, it looks like a full win for Navi at this point. Though mid is still going nice for Mushi in the time being. Top lane, though. Oh, Ditya in a bit of trouble. They do connect with the stun. They got the slow, and they got it down. That's going to be Lycan dropping Fnatic now even thing up 1-1, but they get the responses. They will be able to clean up the Phoenix. DJ goes for the TP and will be able to make it out. Forces General to rotate to that top lane to be a part of it, while Mushi still playing with Dendi under the tower right now. 11 to the 20 CS of Mushi.
He doesn't, yeah, he's getting destroyed, actually. I mean, it's 21-2. But the more CS the Shadow Fiend gets, the more equalized it'll become. And eventually, Dendi's going to hit 5, and as soon as you get to that point, you just start double raising, and he'll be A-okay. But it's really nice for Fnatic that he's actually doing so well, because this lane, normally, I would say, unless you get extremely outplayed, the Shadow Fiend will eventually win, like, no matter what.
I was going to say, as far as stacking goes here, something I actually see the Shadow Fiend will probably be a part of. I'm sure that part of the game hasn't changed too much. There's not much to take away from the rest of his team as Ditya will continue to be camped in this top lane, but doesn't mean he'll be able to do it safely as he continues to get knocked down a bit here. DJ's trying the best to make some strong use of his Nyx Assassin being the bouncer for this top lane.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at mid-one's farm right now, by the way, as he's
we might look at him die, actually. Yep.
He's got 6 creep kills. That's not great. His tower is already dead. I mean, Howl plus the Treants and having an Enchantress down here as well, they just pressured the safe lane of Fnatic so hard, and what's the response? I mean, Mushi's not 6 yet. I think in order to do anything, he needs Chakram at least. And I also feel like Fnatic, they need to protect the Drow, they need to invade the jungle to take the stacks away from Dendi. Like, they need to do so much right now to get their game plan back on track, and I mean, all thanks to Mushi right now. He needs to just go completely ham this game.
Yeah, and Timber does require a bit of a build-up, as you mentioned. At least getting Chakram is like the one tool in that direction, but they need the mana sustain to go behind it. He's getting close to the Arcanes, and then you hope to get that Bloodstone in decent timing, and then hope at that point with some charges you can really be the one to snowball. But you're right, they need to try to deter attention away from this Drow, because as we know, Drow already on a timer as it is, and if she's getting noogied and wedgied in this bottom lane out of her tower, then Fnatic are going to have one hell of a crawlback that they're going to need here. They'll keep him there for now as they have even more space with the tower being down, but that means that Navi are going to be hiding off the radar here, and that could be a bit scary for like Mushi and company when they don't know exactly where the bottom lane has adjusted.
This is just the nightmare, pretty much. You lose control of your own jungle very early as Fnatic, and then you have to worry about the fact that Fury and TPs can be going anywhere. Sure, Mushi's probably not going to be a prime target, But you know, you start taking fights in top lane as we see here, and you could get yourself into maybe a little bit more trouble than you want.
Yeah, General could TP, a TP at the tower, and then you're quickly outnumbered. So they're happy to get some pot shots in on this Lycan, but they don't want to overcommit and risk throwing even more advantage to Navi in the early phase here. So
he's making his way back into the game as quickly as he can, doing the split push thing, trying to force pressure on other places of the map so Navi can't just do the 5-man, because that's what Fnatic are actually scared of. Even though the Drow strat is normally the one that you look at and say, okay, they're the 5-man team.
Navi is Drow, though.
Yeah,
they're
pretty
with
much.
their momentum. They always like to go fast, and they always kind of have a timer on their back. They're not like your... I mean, it's as funny as it is, the Navi Alliance Classic. I mean, Alliance notorious known for strategic late game play on being able to, you know, sweat out their opponents. Navi, brash, fast, quick, and here they are coming after Tier 2 in the top lane.
I mean, this is the perfect siege, right? Your Venge is in position to swap if needed.
Which, you know, Dendi, I'm sure the eyes are on Dendi here. He takes a couple of shots, still has that Aegis, but doesn't want to lose that first life so casually here. Looks like they'll be able to secure the tower and make it away without too much of a scratch on this one. So, Navi, do you think they got enough of what they wanted with the life of their Aegis?
I think it's still close. You know, 1 or 2 botched high ground pushes and...
Oh, they spot out mid one. A good play from General coming from behind, but yeah, that silence means so Nico's not going to be able to stun, not going to be able to see. Mid one makes it away.
Yeah, but Fnatic can definitely pull this back still. It sounds crazy, but I just feel like they're playing better than Navi. Like, their idea of how the game is meant to unfold might be a little bit more clear than what Navi did, just based on, you know, after killing Roshan, just not going straight for the buildings and losing heroes that they should not have lost. So if Fnatic keep getting these little pickoffs and can get item progression going on their heroes, yeah, they definitely still have a shot.
And Fnatic's one of those teams that rally behind, like when they get that kind of a morale boost, they'll keep going the up and up. Normally you see Fnatic like they're on the up and up and then things tend to head south for them and they can't really recover, but if they are given the opportunity to bounce back into a game, they're a team that's not quick to let go. They will ride the momentum as long as possible, and here they are at the top lane here. Navi in the neighborhood though. Ditcher off very close. It's DJ who's stalking things out with this Vendetta, looking for a strike.
This is very dangerous.
Hello there. Gets the strike. Oh, swing and a miss on the stun though. Uh-oh. And he quickly walks away in shame. That's not going to be too good.
They want to chase this though.
Yeah, Navi says, let's make a fight happen out of it, and suddenly a wild wolfman appears, and he's heading right for Birdtown here. Can't get Ohio, though. He'll be able to TP away. That was hasty and quick.
Yeah, no one dying is actually amazing for Fnatic, because that would have been a disaster otherwise. I mean, I guess they still have General, like, split pushing. He didn't decide to commit for that, but mid one, he's going to force a TP reaction here, out of Art's style at least.
This is what we've been seeing from for like the past 10 minutes, it feels. Happy to push those side lanes and deter Navi back, and then he'll gust one and leave.
Yeah.
Bye.
I mean, that's another thing about Navi's lineup is they really only have one person who can stop TPs. So if you silence that hero, you can TP out from everything. It's just a very good understanding of what he can get away with in the game. So mid one once again proving how talented of a player he
Pretty much
actually is.
overall, not a lot of stuns in this game. It's
Yeah,
like the Nyx and the Venge, and that's it. Each team gets one. Do your best.
It's just the pace of the game is so fast.
Yeah.
Because both teams hit their stride very early on. Like, as soon as marksmanship is available for the Drow strat, you start pushing. As soon as, you know, General gets a handful of levels and gets some trees going, you start pushing with Howl. You know, it's really hard to pick disables into those types of lineups, because then you're just saying, okay, if we don't crush our lanes and rotate properly, the enemy team 5-mans and we just lose the game.
Yeah.
But
also,
both... go ahead.
I was going to say, you also can't get tied down too much by cooldowns when things are moving so fast.
Exactly.
Because then, yeah, you lose your tier 2, you committed on defense, all your ultis, and then Navi will just run to your base. Same goes for Fnatic, so it's very fast game. And here we are 17 minutes in, and I already feel like if one bad fight, you could lose at Rax. It might not be that dramatic, but it just feels with the way these teams can just take their momentum. It could go that way.
The damage output is only going to get higher as well, so it's going to become worse and worse. So those fights, if they go lopsided one direction, you know, you're losing Roshan, you're losing tier 2s, possibly even tier 3s. But Navi are still in a very good position. They have a lot of towers left, so there's a lot that they can still, I guess, technically mess up and be okay. Obviously, you don't want to go into a fight and lose, but if they did, Fnatic would still take a little bit more time than they would to reestablish all that map control. So,
how are we feeling about some of the item progression here as Mott is showcasing us? That's the Orchid now being done for General's Nature's Prophet. Dendi holding an Ogre Club. Not too sure yet if it's going to be a St. Janyasha or BKB. DJ, as we see in the top lane, a little bit of trouble here. Can he make it away? Stun? He's done for sure.
oh, the creeps!
But the creeps swarm around General, and they are not friendly. They mug him down, and it turns into a 1-for-1.
Yeah, when you buy an Orchid against a Nyx, you're going to have a bad time because he hits real hard with mana burn.
Yeah.
Because Orchid gives no stats other than int, so it's like
That's true.
you become squishier against Cynics. But for the idea of the game, I think it's still good. Because, I mean, you put it on Mushi, for example, forces them to either buy a Lotus or a Yules, neither of which he really wants to buy in this game, because he needs to be tanky. They need some kind of frontline hero if you don't have disables. Because you can't have your Phoenix Egg just dying every single engagement, so he needs to be in there and causing chaos, and he can't do that if he's silenced.
Why not just get like if your nature's probably like another book and just go full on the book, full on the rush?
I like the book, but at the same time, I think your pushing potential isn't really the problem. And to be honest, if you put like one Necro Book on a support or one Necro Book on Mushi, he's going to go out of mana, or he's going to kill it and take a ton of damage. So having two, I feel, is almost just overkill.
DJ stalking around Ditchera here in the bottom lane. Goes for the stun setup here. Can Mushi make it into bursting down in time? Yes, they can. They'll take the quick assassination here and see if they can get any other stragglers. Arsal flirting around a little too close. Mushi decides to make an advancement in. Dendy's nearby though with Sonico. Oh, a swap for the ulti. Not enough for the finish, but they go for the egg and that's not going to matter. It will be able to go off, but they will crush it down. Mushi gets the help from the grave. Mid one here now. Can he make it away on the back of a TP? Yes, he can. He's good. Back in Fountain will heal up. Fnatic going to be forced to pull away from this one. Navi did lose Ditchera, but nice swap. Ulti from Dendy.
That was almost the sick play.
Almost the sick play.
If it wasn't Phoenix, you know, anyone else would have been dead, pretty much.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Navi are here now, and they're looking to go for the +1. They'll take the Phoenix plus the tower here. And going against the Drow where they have, only taken 2 tier 1s, and this timing, it looks pretty good. Mushi, gonna need another grave to stay alive at this one, but mid one has found his sights, looking to go for Sonico. A two-man stun locks him in place. Sonico trying to run, but Eventual Spirit not gonna be so fast. Blink Strike's gonna be there, and they will take her down. Navi will pull off. They got their, no, they didn't get their tier 2. Mushi will take that tier 2. Easy to deny.
And Fnatic, again, just getting really nice outplays. That stun from the Knicks hit 3 people, and then he just mana burns, kills art style like straight away. I think the Ench actually needs BKB this game. Ditchera could be in trouble as well.
Oh, he just got back. He was taken out in that bottom lane, but yeah, he will have to pull out Shapeshift though to make it away safely.
Oh god, he doesn't have ult.
Oh, never mind. Ohio, who has no ult from that swap back play earlier, got to get saved by Mushi, but now Mushi's the one in trouble. Uh-oh. No grave this time, sir. He goes down. Actually will commit suicide, but he loses a chunk of charges there. Admirably just trying to save his buddy.
Yeah, that's so not worth it. It would have been better for Ohio to just die.
Yeah.
Than have Mushi lose Bloodstone charges. That hero is so important for their lineup.
Mushi's back again, though, because of the charges, and he's actually going for a Yule Scepter here.
Yeah, he needs it. It's either that or Lotus. I mean, Lotus synergizes better with the hero, but it's more expensive. And the pace of the game is so fast that he might not have time to farm the extra, like 1,200 gold he needs.
Yeah, there'll be nice little extra benefits, I suppose. I mean, there's not a whole lot here to even reflect with the Lotus, except for an awkward swap situation, I guess.
It's more just about, like, the time that Yules takes you out of the fight for a Timber is huge, because it's a lot of damage that you're not doing. And the Lotus also gives you additional armor, which is still very good against their lineup.
You need both, obviously, the Silence Purge, too, and maybe being able to lock down or at least hold the Wolf in place a bit longer might help having the Yules a bit. We'll see, though. Navi, get the hell out of our neighborhood, trying to frantically keep Fnatic back a bit here.
As long as Fnatic keep the game scrappy, and we're not seeing like these tower sieges coming out from Navi, they're still doing what they need to do. They're just trying to be as disruptive as possible and stopping from Navi getting that siege, because we saw what happened when the Navi went top. They get Dendy in position, they have the Venge ready to swap. That's when Fnatic have the hardest time engaging, because they don't have a hero that can go in other than Mushi. And what happens when Mushi goes in, he gets Orchid, and then he has to be graved and TP away. Otherwise, he's just dead. So you have to have an engagement that's on your own terms if you're Fnatic.
So the Fnatic can find that. They keep taking these scrappy little picks, you know, inch by inch, or crawling themselves back into an even playing field in this game. But as the game goes on, I mean, do we feel comfortable with their team being able to scale against something like Navi? When you're already committed for a Drow, Timber will be okay, but you already talked about all the answers they're going to have for the Timber in these fights. I just don't foresee it getting too much easier for Fnatic. And I'm the one guy at the couch who backed up Fnatic, and now I'm like, I don't even know. Draskell, I'm going to look like the loser here.
It's tough. It's definitely tough, because BKBs are going to be coming out on other heroes too. Like Artstyle will eventually get one. DJ going in here.
I mean, here's another scrappy potential pickoff. If they can get it for Sonico, will they do it? Yes, they will, but Navi want blood in response. Here comes Ditchera. Wolf form, can't get DJ. DJ's going to be able to TP away. Fnatic, though, oh, they are going to lose their Dazzle. They're very good at trying to get these bailouts, but okay, there's a Yule's use, but as he falls back down, Navi will catch up and they will finish him off. Oh, it goes from bad to worse here. Navi now are going to get the better end of that scrappy skirmish, and There's Mid-Wan just doing his best to split the map. He'll pressure this tier 2, but the second he sees someone else come in, you know, he's got to get back on the defensive.
I mean, him TPing back right now isn't really even going to do much. He just doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, what did Fnatic do against this? This is the worst case scenario.
Still BKB, still mech for Dendi. Navi have a ton of fighting potential still there if
Oh,
they
they're
want.
going to go mid, I guess. Tier 2 still up.
Get a mid tier 2, fall back. Roche could be coming up in the near future, so you get that. You feel a bit more secure. And for Fnatic, you, I don't know, start thinking about complexity, smoke wraparounds or something.
Yeah, honestly, that's what they need to do. They can't keep letting Navi get to their side of the map without taking a fight.
Okay, Fnatic, I like that. Two-man stun comes out from DJ.
Nice.
Lots of burst from Mushi here. This is with the weave on top. They're going to be able to take Dendi down, or at least just his Aegis here. But Fnatic are obviously going to need a bit more than that. They didn't have to commit too much, I suppose. They still have the egg, which is level 2 now. But Navi not phased enough. They'll take this tier 2, and I imagine they could slow it down a bit.
Oh, DJ, that's not where you want to be.
Oh, Navi, though, kind of coaxed in for that fight. Draskell in a bit of an awkward spot. They're going to try to swap back and save Artstyle, but that's not going to be happening. Fnatic want more. They move in. They'll get 2 supports for it. And as they continue to make chase, I think Navi have finally found a bit of distance between themselves and Fnatic and will pull off. But Fnatic can go now. Any opportunity like that where you can take advantage of numbers, we'll see if they can get any sort of +1 as a follow-up to it.
It just goes to show like how important BKBs are against this lineup, because Mushi is doing like all the damage. He goes in, he almost he kills Artstyle, he takes Dendi's Aegis away, and then he reinitiates, and we saw how big of a threat he can actually be. So if he sees that General isn't around and there's no Orchid available, then he's going in. And if he can go in, then that means that Fnatic can actually take the engagement.
And as we know, Fnatic can take towers very fast. Any outer tower that Navi don't feel comfortable.
DJ finds a solo
kill on General here. Bursts him down on the side. I mean, that's the benefit of having a Nyx going into Nature's Prophet. Can't really feel safe split pushing those side lanes. And this is a blink Nyx Assassin too, so just lines up all the shots and we'll have enough bursting power to take out the Nature's Prophet.
Fnatic are finding a lot of space right now. I mean, losing the towers is not really that great, but
look at the kill score.
Yeah,
You'd think Fnatic were winning this game if you didn't know Dota.
Yeah, that's what I was saying though, is like they're playing their strategy better, I feel, than Navi have played theirs. Like there was a lot of sloppy movement across the map. They got a lot of heroes picked off that were completely unnecessary deaths, and you know, when you're playing against an experienced team, they're going to take advantage of that. And Fnatic have found their footing. Like, sure, they don't have, you know, outer 2 towers, but really the game kind of ends if you get like double raxed.
Yeah.
You know, like even one rax I don't even think is enough to just say, okay, it's over. Sure, Navi might have technically better scaling with their heroes and BKB. Like once the Lycan has his BKB, I think it's going to be really tough. It's a nice power spike for Navi. But Fnatic are playing the better Dota right now.
Do you think from Navi's perspective in their mind right now, did they feel like the game, because the game is even, we looked at it, you know, because of all these kills Fnatic got, do you think in their mind they feel like they're even, or do they feel like, no guys, we're still good, we're up and ahead?
I think that they're both feeling like they can win. Like both teams feel the same. It's like Navi maybe a little bit more shaky because they've had a lot of really weird engagements that probably shouldn't have happened, but I think that Fnatic are feeling confident. I don't think there's any reason for them to feel like they're behind.
Ooh, okay, so Mid-Wan is going to go with the Maelstrom, probably a situational pickup because you're going against Nature's Prophet and a Lycan and an army. And maybe it's your best way of being able to farm it out and push it out, or even push other lanes in faster.
It's a cheap, effective way to increase your farm rate too. And if you feel like the game is going to go on for a little while, like Navi probably want to wait for the next Roshan.
Yeah.
Dendi goes for the Blink Dagger and the BKB, which is a little bit more of an all-in choice than I thought he would do.
Oh, DJ.
He can't go for this.
Yeah,
Yeah, BKB.
Hits him real hard, but you know, can be just flustering to Navi for now.
I mean, maybe I'm overvaluing the Timber in this game a little bit for Fnatic, because I think as soon as BKB is on Artstyle and Ditchera, the game is like incredibly hard, because then like most of your damage output, it goes away. And maybe that's why Fnatic seem to have like this this kind of shining hope in the game. It's just Mushi has had a very, very good game so far.
Yeah. It becomes more of hoping that they will make mistakes on the side of Navi. I don't know if it means jumping him and taking him down before BKBs are unleashed, or baiting out BKBs enough of it in a long enough game where they have small timers and you can work around it, but certainly has not been an easy game for Fnatic. It's always the uphill climb, but
just imagine if their laning phase didn't go so badly. Like, their laning phase was abysmal, and they're still looking pretty good. I mean, even the net worth is reflecting that. A lot of the time when Navi pick these strategies and they take like the outer tier towers, normally Artstyle is like one of the top 5 net worth, but you know, he's kind of trailing behind this game. And it could be because, you know, you do have a Furion, so Furion does take an excessive amount of farm, and sometimes you see General playing like a Bat or a Sand King or whatever. But I think him not having a BKB and being one of the main heroes that deals with the Timber could kind of be an issue at some point.
And it looks like Navi will not make chase So it turns into a 2-for-1. The first fight we've seen in quite a while where Navi get the kill advantage.
They do get the kill advantage, but the heroes that they kill don't really matter that much.
Yep.
I mean, it's once again just not... And where's he going? Is he going to get that kill?
Ooh.
Oh, missed the timber chain.
Oh, and
Good force
silenced
step.
up. Yeah, forced away.
But
Mushi.
he's going deep.
Yes, he is.
He does not care.
Come here. Oh, swing and a miss on the chakra. Come here, come here.
Oh.
General making him work for it.
Yeah, he's going to die.
Benny Hill music. Swing and a miss.
Oh, the mind
Duke
freak
City got
chakra,
him.
that
Oh,
was nice.
Space created.
Yeah.
Except there's no space to really be made for on Navi, unfortunately. Top lane DJ even still dancing around with Dendi a bit.
They can just play so aggressively because there's no team has disables.
No,
It's like,
there's-
okay, the Venge is in here, guys. I can just TP out from literally anything. They need a Hex so badly. Like, the General needs to buy a Hex, I think, in order to be able to do anything. Or I guess Lycan can buy Abyssal, but that's very, very far off. I think he, like, just finished his BKB, and yeah, now he's going for Assault, so he's not even prioritizing the disable portion of it. He just wants to make his 5-man stronger, which is okay. I don't know how I feel about the Scotty, by the way. This is like... Scotty against Nyx just seems very lackluster to me in a lot of cases, but I suppose when a team doesn't have lockdown, having that extra slow to be able to chase people might be the reasoning behind getting it, and it also does make you a bit tankier for the siege. Those are pretty much the two benefits, I suppose, of the item, but personally, I think it's becoming harder for him to itemize because his team hasn't quite hit the timing that they were supposed to. So now we're in this like awkward late game where your Shadow Fiend right-click doesn't really matter that much anymore. I mean, he went Blink, BKB, Mech. So
yeah,
he
I was going to
does
say,
no
what about
right-click
the
damage.
damage is just not there is the other thing. Yeah. I guess you just got to hope that with your Lycan and with your Kablam swap ultimate, it's going to be enough and then get you inside and do some real siege work. But
Yeah.
if Drow gets tanky enough, we already know that Timbersaw is going to get more and more tanky as the game goes on. You know, Shadow Fiend could be stuck in an awkward right-clicking situation where he can't do a whole lot of work.
Well, we're almost to the point where, you know, Art Style can start doing a lot of damage. You know, he's got, what, 1,600 gold, I think, after his Dragon Lance and Aghanims or something like that? Yeah, so he's almost to a point where he's got BKB, and then he gets a little bit of attack speed, and then boom, all of a sudden late game turret is enabled. And that's a really scary thing for Fnatic, because he can lay into anyone. Doesn't matter who it is, Mushi will die, you know, mid one will die. It's a tremendous amount of damage, and I think that Navi might almost need him to get to that point to be able to win.
Yeah. I mean, they have... That's the thing, is like, I wonder if Navi like see it in a bit of a predicament. Like, they'd love to wait out for the BKB. Will he get it in time before this Aegis expires, or are they just going to have to sit on the Aegis here? Can Navi sit on an Aegis without using it is the other thing.
I don't know. Like, they don't have that much control of the map right now. Like, you can see how freely Fnatic are moving around. They just don't care. Like, whatever. You know, if we're going to fight, we can get out of any of these engagements.
General comes in right as they make their own jump for Digger, and they will be able to burst him. They will be able to burst him down. Nice grab by that. And General's just going to have to pop his own BKB.
He died so fast.
Fnatic are assassins, man. Hit and run on the bottom lane.
They're playing very well. You can tell they're hungry. Like, they want to win.
Yeah. What can they do on the back of this takedown, though? Dendi is scary close by, but Fnatic not really wavering in that direction. They're going for tier 2 wall. It's an easy pick.
I don't...
It's Navi who are
and there's
actually
no
not crowding
buyback on
it.
this Lycan either. They can deal a pretty good amount of damage to the tower. I
certainly
mean, they're
can.
gonna test the waters. They probably don't know that he doesn't have buyback, but
3 hits here from mid one with that Dragon Lance to the bottom lane.
Oh
Mantis
my God.
does the right click, but jump in burst comes out. Fnatic, they get the quick grab, taking out the Vengeful Spirit. Dendi needs to reposition, sends out a couple of waves, but his BKB has already been popped here. While Minwan continues to siege from the low ground. Still got about 15 seconds before we get your Raw Lycan back in action here. Will Fnatic stand and try to go for the racks? It looks like they will. This is very scary for Navi, who had the upper hand in the laning phase and were really taking the momentum of this game. And suddenly it's Fnatic doing all the siege work here. 1 second, Lycan's back, and they lose their racks just as fast, Draskell. Fnatic, can they do what they've been doing all this game and just bail out? It looks like they will. Oh my goodness, where has this game gone that it's Navi down 2 sets of racks and Fnatic are just 1 away from pretty much clinching it?
I mean, all the credit in the world to Fnatic. They played an amazing like recovery game after the first 10 to 15 minutes. They're like, okay, mid one died twice in lane. We lost our tier 1 safe lane at like 5 minutes in, but all we got to do is just, you know, split up the map as much as we can. Don't let Navi get their siege going. All the Aegis uses I think that Navi had were not quite as effective as they needed to be. Obviously, starting all the way back to the first one. That was, I would even say, a disaster. That was so not what they needed during that stage in the game. And now, this Phoenix, Having an Aghanim
How many times have we seen Grave bail out someone from an Ag? Now you have an Egg with an Agnums. Like, this is going to be tough for Navi to be able to get some easy takedowns in these fights through like the span of the like BKB window, for example. So,
I mean, at this point, I'm not even really sure what they can do. Like they don't have any control over the map with a Furion of all heroes, and he can't go anywhere because the Nyx has just been chasing him around.
yep. That's the Nyx's job. He's like, let me just put this in your head that if you go out there anywhere on loan, I will be there over your
It's
shoulder.
like you have to BKB if the Nyx jumps you, otherwise you're gonna die. Like,
yeah.
It's very, very annoying for him at this point. And sure, when you're playing from ahead, the Nyx is very bad. But when you're playing from behind, the Nyx is terrifying because then all of a sudden you have no lanes are pushed. It's not obvious where he is. He can play off map like 100% of the time. Oh, this is an uphill struggle to say the least for Navi.
Yeah, this is where suffocation begins. Nyx dances around one side. Mushi can easily clear out the waves on the other. Navi make a move out, though. Oh, that was supposed to be a swap earlier into that ult, I imagine. This is very awkward for Navi. And DJ manages to blink away. Oh, no! Oh, no.
Not like this.
This is not looking so good for Navi right now.
No, not at all. I mean, we're going to see how long the Roshan timer is in a couple of seconds, but I don't even know if it matters if Navi get Roshan. That's how bad of a position they're in. I mean, look at this.
14K. I mean, the whole lower
swing
part of that
itself
net,
is over 20.
Was when the laning phase was developing nicely for Navi, and then picks came in for Fnatic one by one. And can you stop with that wrapper over there?
Winter has no manners.
No manners at all.
It's okay. I forgive him.
21 to 12 though, and 2 sets of racks down. Navi surprisingly on the last legs here.
He has a Hex before the Furion. Oh boy.
And this is coming from a position where way back when it feels like we were saying, where's Nyx? Where's his place in this game?
Yeah.
Where was it going to be? They obviously had to do some sort of crazy role swap to end up in this position.
Truthfully, if Navi played the style that their lineup is predicated around,
yeah,
it would have been really hard for the Nyx to have an impact. But again, Fnatic knew how to split up the map. They knew when to take the engagements, and in games like that, Nyx can definitely work. So here we are, Navi with only 1 set of racks left.
Oh, DJ just waiting for Ditcherod to walk out from the base here.
He's just being annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
they got the Roche very fast. Very slow, very low timer,
They're too
and
slow.
very quick. Navi's going to be without it, and they're already in this deep position. But Mushi spouted them, and now look at this. Navi's like, I don't know where to go from here. We have Mushi on one end. They're at the Roche on the other end. Just find your way back to base, everybody. Get the hell out of here. They're trying to spread a bit. Fnatic looking to make their move. They spotted Artstyle. They're getting all the people who have been left behind. The first to go down is going to be the Venge. Dendy just admirably goes for an ult, but a quick egg is going to be canceling out the finishing blow there. He tries to stand and break the egg with the right click. He will be able to get it with the help of Dityara and General. So at least it's one notch going the way of Navi, but he gets quickly swarmed up, and that's going to be it. Navi drop game number 1. It's Fnatic who take the win.
My god. Okay, so that Dro was insanely tanky during that fight. Like, Ditcherod turned around after killing the egg and was like, yeah, I'm gonna hit. Oh god, I'm actually just dead instantly. And yeah, Fnatic, you know, you can say they played a very, very solid game. Like, they knew what they needed to do, but Navi made so many mistakes this game. Like, it was uncharacteristic, actually, how many times Navi were out of position or not really doing what their lineup was meant to be doing. I mean, you pick Furion, Lycan, Shadow Fiend, he builds mech, he builds, you know, Blink BKB, and you're not pressuring after you kill Roshan. Like, you know, we go back to what they did during the top tier 1 and tier 2 pushes. Fnatic watched them kill the towers. They were like, we can't do anything. And if they just did that earlier, it would have been even harder for Fnatic to stop. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So Fnatic, they take game 1 after a pretty disastrous early game.
Fair enough. We'll cut back now, I assume, to our pouch, our panel couch.
I like that.
Our pouch.
Winter would fit in the pouch.
Are we kangaroos now? Is that what's going on?
This is our pouch.
No, I mean, I think you guys nailed it, really. In terms of the way that game went, I thought Fnatic's draft was absolutely terrible, but Navi's execution was even worse.
Yeah, let's just say I was the one who was right here. Obviously, I looked at it then, we saw the early game develop, and I'm sitting here going, I made a bad decision. It's very obvious Navi had a great draft, and but then, you know.
At a minute 30, right, at a minute 30, Drow Ranger is getting dived under her own Tier 1 tower by Howl Treants, by a Dark Troll Summoner that had howled skeletons and a net. I mean, the Drow Ranger runs around, has a couple of pretty good jukes, still dies. It just looked like they weren't going to be able to do anything in that game.